Do you think you know Spanish? Well, what if I told you that the 10 accents that we're going to go over in this video are so difficult that many times native Spanish speakers cannot understand them? Can you understand them all? Let's find out. Also, I highly recommend you click the link in the video description to get the free PDF that goes along with this video.
A ver, Iván, cuéntame de tus anillos, ¿por qué los usas?
Este anillo lo uso porque para buenas vibras y aparte eso me gusta el anillo de la plata.
¿Hablada?
Plata, el anillo son de plata.
Adiablada se le llama.
Ya.
¿Cuántos tienes?
En este momento tengo más de 20 anillos, aquí con los anillos puestos.
Bueno.
Feliz orgulloso de hablar con usted y de ser humilde nomás, como siempre tiene que seguir así usted nomás.
No, seguro,
Sí,
seguro.
esa es la idea.
Venga,
Suerte,
venga.
cariño, saludos a mi hija, a mi familia y para toda la gente chilena y para usted, para su país.
Venga.
Suerte, cariño.
Okay, so Luisito Comunica, one of my favorite Mexican YouTubers, is in Chile and he's interviewing this man, asking about his rings and all that. And as you can see, even Luisito, as a native Mexican Spanish speaker, didn't understand that he was saying plata, meaning silver. He thought he was saying something like diablada, which had nothing to do with what the guy was saying. He was actually saying plata. One of the hardest things about the Chilean accent is that it seems like they're kind of eating sounds. Plata. It's very hard to understand. And when you combine that with all of the crazy Chilean slang that exists, it can be very difficult to understand what they're saying. A popular Chilean word is cachai, meaning do you understand? For example, cachai weon, do you understand, dude? Weon is their version of saying dude or bro or friend. Now, I believe that cachai is coming from cachar, which would be being taken from the English language here. So, cachar, did you catch it? Did you understand? Cachai. Also, an interesting thing about Chilean Spanish is that instead of saying pues, for meaning well, they will say po. So just P-O, po. Sí, po. Sí, po, weón.
Acento cubano en 15 segundos. Cuando una palabra termina en S y la que le sigue empieza en vocal, cambias esta S por una J. Esto está más o menos. Oye, ¿qué es eso? Hacer que grande sojoso.
Más o menos. Okay, so that is so fascinating with the Cuban Spanish. Frankly, I find Cuban Spanish more easy to understand than Chilean Spanish, but this is very fascinating. Look at how it becomes a J instead of an S right here. Like you said, when it's coming before a vowel. Más o menos.
Esto está más o menos. Oye, ¿qué es eso?
¿Qué es eso? That is a crazy interesting one. Now, I would say, ¿qué es eso? Okay, the thing about Mexican Spanish is it's kind of more pronounced, I suppose we can say, depending on where you're from in Mexico. We're going to take a look at some Mexican Spanish later in the video. But, ¿qué es eso? So fascinating. And one of the hardest things about Cuban Spanish is that it is so fast. Oh my gosh. If you look at all the different Caribbean Spanish accents, the number one thing they have in common is that they speak very, very fast. So something that we could say in Cuban Spanish could be, ¿Qué hacer, bola? Meaning, what's up, dude? ¿Qué bola hacer? I can't even do it right. Now, in Cuban Spanish, we have the word hacer, meaning friend. And if we say, ¿Qué bola? That means, what's up? Also, one of the funniest phrases, in my opinion, in Cuban Spanish is tremendo paquete, meaning a big problem, or literally translating to a tremendous packet. No, ese trabajo es tremendo paquete. I'm trying to imitate the accent, but I can't do it. It's very hard for me, but I think that's so funny.
A todo el mundo no le gusta el andaluz, y ya está, pero para gusto colores. Oye, que yo puedo decir los ojos, las personas, las uñas, pero yo hablo andaluz. Yo digo los ojos, las uñas, las personas humanas, porque hablo andaluz, soy andaluz. Que es precioso, aunque a mucha gente no le gusta, pero que no es lo mismo decir un te estimo catalán que decir te quiero niña, ole lo más bonito que ha parido mare. No es igual.
The Spanish accent coming from the region of Andalucía in Spain, which is the southern region, is absolutely fascinating. So I actually lived in Andalucía for 3 months, about 5 years ago. I lived in Sevilla, which is, in my opinion, the most beautiful city in all of Spain. You can leave me your comments down below telling me otherwise. But something that I noticed and that you'll see in this video is that it's very common for them to drop the ending of a word. So instead of saying los ojos, for example, who say los ojo. Then, for example, when you add in the lisp in there, or the f sound, so for example, instead of saying los osos, for example, he said los osos. I can't even imitate it, but you get the idea. They cut things off and then they add in the lisp, which can get very confusing. Once again, they speak fast. So instead of saying, ¿Cómo estás, tío? Which tío would be how to refer to a friend in Spain. They will say, ¿Cómo está, tío? It's very quick and they just cut off the ends of words. It's very fascinating. Also, I found a really funny word from the region of Andalucía, and that is tiquismiquis. Okay, so for example, no seas tan tiquismiquis, which would be don't be so picky or fussy. I love that. So funny.
¿Así que ya aprendiste español?
Sí, y lo entiendo perfectamente.
¿Y un argentino? ¿Me entendés también?
Hablan en español, así que sí.
Sí, qué bueno. Escúchame, ¿trajiste plata para el escabio?
¿Escabio?
Para, no me digas que no trajiste ni un sope.
Sope.
Ah, andás cortina de guita.
¿Qué es guita?
De la tarasca.
¿De qué?
De la billulla.
No entiendo.
¿No tenés ni un mango?
Mango.
¿Qué pensabas? ¿Tarjetear acá? No te aceptan. Es todo taca.
No nos estamos entendiendo.
Now, as you can see in the video, Dustin is pretending to be confused by this native speaker, but one of the big reasons he's getting confused is because, once again, of all of the slang that is being used. Now, not to mention, in Argentina, the word tú is not really used. It's just vos, which means two. Tú. So, for example, instead of saying tú tienes, they would say vos tenés. Or instead of saying tú eres, they would say vos sos. I'd actually like to say that my video editors are from Argentina, so big shout out to them. Many times people will say that Spanish speakers from Buenos Aires sound like Italians, the Italians of Latin America. Let me know if you agree with that, and I'm also curious if you are from Argentina. I would love to hear your thoughts on that because I think that is a pretty unpopular opinion. But truthfully, for me, it kind of does sound like that. It's very emotional and very passionate. Very cool. So a funny example of how you could speak if you were from this area in Argentina could be, che boludo, que quilombo. Ah, man, what a problem, what an issue. Of course, I'm not great at imitating accents, but you get the idea.
Pensé que eras chileno hasta que dijiste que eras de Canarias. Hablas como chileno. ¿Qué? ¿Pero por qué hablas como chileno? Oye, los canarios hablan como en Chile. Se te sale el acento chileno. Pensé que eras chileno. No comentar que sé que eres chileno que vive en España. Chiquillo, sí soy español, soy canario y no sabía que los canarios hablábamos tan parecidos a los chilenos. De verdad no tenía ni idea. Así que busquen entrevistas de gente famosa canaria, como por ejemplo Quevedo, y díganme si realmente hablamos como los chilenos o si es que a mí se me ha pegado el acento y parezco un chileno más. De verdad que estoy en shock.
Okay, so the accent from the Canary Islands is a really confusing one for me, and I can't pinpoint it. To me, it sounds like a mixture of Spanish from Spain combined with Chilean Spanish, as you can see in this video. Now, in addition to the accent, it has some really interesting words that they'll use on the Canary Islands. For example, guagua, referring to a bus. And from what I understand, the word guagua is also used in some Latin American countries to refer to a bus. Now, this one is fascinating. We have chacho or chacha, which would be the equivalent of tío or tía in España. So basically friend, dude, that kind of idea. So for example, ¿qué pasa, chacho? Now, of course, I'm not doing the accent well, but you get the idea. ¿Qué pasa, chacho? I'm curious if that comes from muchacho, and they just cut off the mu, and now they have chacho. If you are from the Canary Islands, please leave me a comment down below. I'd be fascinated to know if that is the case or not.
¿Qué te dice el dominicano para decir que algo está bonito? Chulo. Por ejemplo, ay, esa camiseta chula.
It's very common to kind of cut things off, okay? I feel like that's a common trend that we're seeing here. But for example, she said quema instead of que más, for example. In fact, if you say quema, it almost sounds like you're saying burns instead of quema. What else? Que más. Very interesting. So in addition to that S sound just being completely omitted, it sounds like Dominicans are singing, and I absolutely love that. Now, one of the most common phrases that you hear in all of the Dominican Republic is que lo que, meaning what's up, or literally what it is. Que lo que, amigo, que lo que pana. Now, another incredible word that they'll use in the Dominican Republic is vaina. Now, the word vaina can basically mean anything. Pásame esa vaina. I can't even do the accent. I'm gonna try again. Pásame esa vaina. Anyways, very interesting.
Y tenía siempre la tentación de preguntarle, ¿de dónde es usted?
¿De Michoacán?
De Michoacán. A ver, para comprobar que es de Michoacán, cuénteme del 11 al 15.
11, 12, 13, 14, 15.
¡Ándale!
Mírenla, pues ella también es de Michoacán.
Ay, michoacanita también.
So I had actually never heard anyone count like this before watching this video. So instead of saying 11, 12, 13, she says 11, 12, 13. Have you guys heard this before? I have never heard this.
No, señor juez, la neta es que sí no lo madreamos. Lo que pasa es que este pendejo le tiró el bacacho al Santi, güey, en el ragá. Y pues, que se va a la verga, güey. ¿Qué te crees, pendejo, güey? Y pues ya le dimos una chinga. Sí, la neta sí lo madreamos. Lo podré madrear otra vez. Si me tira el bacacho este pinche gato, güey.
Alright, so that's kind of considered like the fresa accent from Chihuahua, the state of a state in Mexico. And honestly, I love the accents coming from Chihuahua, from Sinaloa. Now, it's interesting because a lot of Mexicans consider the northern accents to be naco, or kind of like trashy. But an interesting thing about the accent from Chihuahua is that oftentimes they turn the CH into an SH sound. So there's a funny song and he says, La muchacha chula de Chihuahua, the cute girl from Chihuahua. But if we were from Chihuahua, we would say, La muchacha chula de Chihuahua. And it kind of becomes this almost tongue twister kind of thing. I love the northern Mexican accent. I think it's so cool. So here are some funny slang we have. ¿Qué onda? The most important one, meaning what's up. Wey, dude. Don't say this to someone you don't know. Chale. That's like, dang, oh man, that stinks. Chale. We also have one that's really common in the north of Mexico, which is machín is like, cool, that's awesome. Simón, meaning yes. Aussie Simón is way more fun than saying sí, in my opinion.
¿Y en Perú cómo se dice colega?
Pues se dice amigo, pero si eres recontra bandido le dices neto, soli, batería, causa primos, o simplemente le dices, ¡ay, recontra sano!
¿Y me sirves una gaseosa?
Mosaico, una gacela bien helena para matarle a ese cero, pero al toquepala porque estoy a purima. Pa' ayer, mano, ¿qué fue?
Okay, so this is Peruvian Spanish, and wow, it is hard. It is hard for me to understand that. And once again, a big reason that it's hard for us to understand other Spanish speakers from different countries is oftentimes not only because of the accent, but also because of the slang. And like we just heard in this video, there's a lot of crazy slang going on. So a fascinating thing about slang coming from Peru is that it's heavily mixed with an indigenous language called Quechua. In fact, I don't know if you've ever seen it, but there's actually a brand of clothing and backpacks named Quechua. A weird Peruvian word is jato, meaning home. I have actually never heard this word before. Jato. J-A-T-O. Jato. A fascinating way to say what's up, bro, is habla causa. Habla causa. That is so interesting. Now, probably my favorite slang coming from Peru is jamear. Jamear. Coming from the word jamón, meaning ham. So jamear means to eat. Very interesting.
What's the new billing address?
The new billing address is 234 Las Aguas Street. La Jagua. La Jagua.
Did you just say La Jagua?
Chamo, yo sabía que...
¡Ay, yo sabía!
Coño de tu madre, no joda.
¿Cómo está la vaina?
Coño, no joda, vale. Qué huevonada es.
Ah, coño de tu madre, no joda.
Ya, ¿no?
¿Cómo está la vaina?
No joda.
Okay, so a lot of people say that the Venezuelan accent sounds similar to the Colombian accent. You can let me know what you think in the comments below. But truthfully, I love the Venezuelan accent. And truthfully, it's not too hard for me to understand. But it is maybe more, it's very smooth and, it sounds so great. Now, let's go over some slang, and then I want to tell you a very interesting story about a Venezuelan that I came to be friends with. So just like in the Dominican Republic, we have vaina, which is, oh my gosh, it's the most versatile word in the Spanish language. Vaina, que vaina, chamo. Vaina meaning thing, chamo meaning boy or girl, but it can be used kind of amongst friends. For example, que tal chamo, que vaina. Now, I want to quickly tell you this story. So I live here in Mexico City, and I don't have a car. And so one day, my girlfriend and I wanted to go to this place called Los Dinamos, which is this beautiful mountain range, really nice area. And we thought, hey, let's see if we can take an Uber there. You know, it might be a little bit more expensive, but let's try. So we were able to do it, and the driver turned out to be a Venezuelan named Ronald. And we ended up being really good friends with him. Now get this. We're telling him, oh, it's our first time going to Los Dinamos. It's going to be awesome. We're so excited. And he's like, oh, Los Dinamos, qué vaina. Es hermoso, precioso. Actually, he loves to say the word espectacular. I feel like he's always saying that word. He's so nice. He's an older guy, maybe in his 50s. And he's saying, oh, man, you know, I love Los Dinamos. I'd love to go with you guys. But, you know, I'm working and have to pick up a client later. And we're like, oh, no worries. Not a big deal. So maybe 10 minutes go by. And he says, you know what, guys? Can I go with you? I don't want to work anymore today. We're like, oh, of course. So we literally just spent the entire day with this Uber driver. We became great friends. We had great food. And after that trip, we not only did we go again to the Dinamos with him, but we actually went and did paintball, or as we say in Mexico, gocha. We did gocha with him and his son. It was so much fun. He's an awesome guy.
Danok euskaldunekin deuskeraz bizigina, gure lehengo hizkuntza euskara izan da, eta bueno, gainera gure aituek eta gure amamaka etzekiten gazteleradiz. Eta gure bigarren hizkuntza kasualitatea bada ere latina izan zen ze.
Okay, so just so you understand, he is not speaking Spanish here. He's speaking Basque, okay? It's a different language. They call it Euskara, okay? But we're going to take a look at the accent of people from the Basque country in Spain that speak both Basque and Castellano, or Spanish.
Salir a pescar un bonito y luego preparar para la noche.
This is Spanish right here.
El primer año, cago en la leche. Tuve el teléfono en la mano,
For me to differentiate this accent from anywhere else in Spain is quite difficult. Something I notice is that oftentimes they will cut out the D in a word like castigado. For example, they will say castigao. So they call the Spanish spoken in the Basque country Euskadi, okay? So this is Spanish, but with the Basque influence, whereas the Basque language is just called Euskara. So here are some words that we might hear in the Basque country. We have aupa, a greeting or exclamation. It's like, hey, or what's up? Gaixo, gaixo. Look at that spelling. That is so cool. Basque is very, very interesting. So it's used in everyday Spanish conversations, meaning hello, gaixo. And finally, we have a cute little word, which is mushu, meaning kiss. So instead of saying beso, they would say musho. Te mando un mushu. Very interesting. If you're from the Basque country, I would love for you to comment down below letting us know more about Basque and also the Spanish spoken in the Basque country. Muchas gracias por ver el video. Espero que hayas aprendido algo nuevo. And don't forget, there's a free PDF for this video in the description. Hasta luego.